Good afternoon everybody and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and District, and my name is Susanna and I live with trains. And firstly, I'd just like to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and season's greetings and Happy New Year to you all. And also I'd like to thank everybody for subscribing and viewing my channel. I have just reached just over 3,000 subscribers, so thank you very much to all my subscribers, new and old, for watching and persevering with my channel. I also owe you guys an apology because I haven't actually posted anything up for the past 5 weeks. Now, in all honesty, there's about 4 videos or 5 videos, and this being one of them, that I've been wanting to post up for a little while. Unfortunately, I've been going through some stuff just beyond the railway world, which has really affected me, and so therefore that has been really the real reason why I haven't really been posting anything up on YouTube. It's just I just haven't been with it, to be honest, for the last 5 weeks. So finding the time and the energy, well, it's not so much the time, it's more the energy and the inclination to do it, to be honest, is it's been a real long drawn out process. However, I do have one of those videos that I'm willing to do today. I was supposed to have a rolling stock update for you, as well as a layout update, a much overdue layout update for you, and I was also meant to have a sort of specific Christmas video. Unfortunately, those videos are delayed, and I was really hoping to do a new cab ride video because there is some new stuff to show you around the layout, and the layout has changed, and I wanted to try and get that done before the New Year's out. That might still happen, but I really wanted it done before Christmas, but you might still get it before the New Year. Now, today's video is about scratch building and the pros and cons of scratch building. And now many of you will know that I am no stranger to scratch building at all, and I have a few examples here on my bench that I thought I'd show you. And then the reason for this is because there's a new building on the layout, and very shortly there will be some video footage of what I was aiming for, so stay tuned for that. Now, one of the buildings that I have built is, I suppose I should show you this one first, because this is the oldest but probably the most recognisable of my scratch builds. And this is Mildenhall Station, well, which was originally Beringer Station. It was originally built as Beringer Station, and this building is a very old building that I've made, and for all these years and the test of time, it still stands strong indeed. It's a very sturdy, strong building. It was, like I said, originally it was Beringer Station when it was under the Network South East guys, and then after it went on to Mildenhall Station, when we had the main Mildenhall Station here, before that got changed. And so this is one of my many scratch builds, but made out of card and plastic card. And originally at the back, it was actually a footbridge that came down from the building, but then when it came to Mildenhall Station, this was actually butted up alongside the platform that ran across. One of my other buildings that I've made as well, that I still have, because I don't have all of my buildings that I've scratch built, but this is another one which I still have. This is like a warehouse. Now, one thing to note about this one is that this one was actually not only made out of card, it was actually clad in brick papers and brick textured papers. That will become sort of apparent and more important later on down the line, and something to bear in mind if you are interested in going down the scratch building route. Now, one of the other buildings which was until recently on the layout, which is no more, and there's a reason for this, was this. And this is the old Beringer train care depot. So now I guess you know where I'm going to go with this. And this is how it was. And originally it was clad in brick paper, and it was refurbished a few years ago and put into plastic card. And if I just show it to you, it's the inside. You can see it's got strip lighting, which is still attached, and it's a very nice building. However, I was never overly happy with this building, although it looked much better than what it was before. And that was mainly because you could probably see the way the glue has bubbled on the sides and on the roof, and you can see what's done with that. And so this building, again, like all my others, was built out of card, and it is still a very good building, and it still looks really, really nice and effective. Now, you may be asking why this building is no more on the layout. So, insert clip here. So I'm going to insert the clip here, and you'll see what building I was aiming for to be built and what my next project was going to be. And when you come back, you'll see what I was aiming for compared to what I actually made. Now, I must warn you, it's not an exact copy. It was never meant to be an exact copy because, well, you can't always get the photographs and the images to make it exact, and also because of the requirements of my layout, it's slightly different. So I'm just going to put you over to the clip. You can see the clip, you can see what I was aiming for, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what I've ended up with. So enjoy the brief clip. So here lies in front of you my brand new building. It's my new engine shed, 4 lanes. It's not 100% finished yet because I've still got to realign the track slightly to make it fit better. My old engine shed was 3 wide, three tracks wide. This one is now 4. And this is, as you can see, was based on the Farnham train care depot. And anyone who knows Farnham at all, and you can easily recognise it when you go past it. And there was a few images from Google Images that I was looking at, as well as some of the footage that I took on my travels when I was on the train. Now, this building does look pretty big and pretty meaty. It is actually slightly bigger than my other one. It's still more or less the same length in terms of it's about 3 foot, just over 3 foot long. It is, like I said, it is wider because this is 4 tracks wide as opposed to 3. And when I'm talking about the pros and cons of scratch building, obviously the biggest pro for scratch building, I love scratch building. I love making my own buildings. It's one of my favourite things to do. And the thing is with scratch building is you end up getting what you want because that's what you want. And obviously if you've got the skills to do it, then absolutely brilliant. I really highly recommend it. Because you're not reliant on people like Hornby and Batman or whoever to make the buildings that you want. You just make them yourself based on what you've seen. And all 3 buildings that you'll see, this one here, which is my engine shed, this is one of my, these 2 here, these 2 Freightliner ones are by far my sort of best built out of all of my buildings, with the least amount of defects. They've all got some kind of defects on them, but these two have got, I think, hardly anything on them. This one, this brand new one here, is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, because the main difference between the engine shed and these two is the actual construction. On this occasion, I decided to try and experiment with foam board. And those of you who are not familiar with foam board, it's kind of like this is what foam board is. And it's quite durable, but it's also very, very brittle. And if you sort of press into it, you can leave marks into it. And if you sort of bend it too much, it will kind of crack and split and bend and warp. And you can see there is some flexibility in this. Now, I'd seen Tony Northeastern, I think recently, was experimenting with a few sort of ideas and construction weight methods. And that kind of got me thinking about possibly using foam board as a material to make a building. And if I can, I'll insert some shots of how it kind of looked, so you can have an idea of the shell before you kind of see it as it is now. And when I glued it to, now the pros for using foam board are absolutely brilliant. The pros are that it's so easy to cut, it's quick and easy to shape, it glues and goes together extremely easily, and you can get bigger sheets as opposed to cardboard sheets. So there is some pros to using it, but there's also some cons, and some of the cons are quite severe. And I didn't realise it as I was putting this building together, but I've kind of gone too deep into this building to sort of delete it. There was a period that I was actually going to put my foot through it and actually throw it and bin it. So what it is a foam board core with the plasticard clad around it. Now the problem is the same problem as I've had with the other building, which was that the Yoo-hoo glue is not the Yoo-hoo glue to use for this job. And I'm sharing this with you because for those of you who are potentially going to scratch build your own or have a thought about using foam board, is what I would suggest to you is not to use Yoo-hoo glue. It does seem to sort of eat into the plastic, it does seem to eat into the foam board, and it does cause some warping. And I'll show you that as we get a bit closer. And that's why I say it's not perfect. It's as good as I can get it, and I'm very pleased with the results, but it's not perfect. It is sort of what I imagined in my mind how it would turn out, but the actual execution wasn't as good as I'd hoped. And the other thing to bear in mind is that when I did this building and this building on the end here, now I think these two buildings are probably going on for about, I don't know, maybe a year. But since then, the price of plasticard has totally gone through the roof. Absolutely gone astronomical. It's gone stupid money. And I didn't realise when I started building that particular building. And the reason why I built that in plasticard was to keep it in keeping with these two other buildings, because these other two buildings were built out of plasticard. So I wanted the majority of this building to be built out of plasticard, although the brick base is Metcalfe Engineers Blue brick, or Engineers brick. I think they call it Engineers brick. I'm not sure if they call it, but it's the Metcalfe Engineers brick. That's what the base is. But other than that, everything else is clad in plasticard. The plasticard on its own for that building alone is come up for, I think it's probably about 50 quid. I think it's about £50 or so, just for the plasticard alone. And that's like for the trimming and all the plasticard sheets to go inside and outside to get the work done. Now I didn't realise this, when I started building it, just how expensive it was going to end up being. But once you start this project, you just got to carry on and just get on with it. The other issues I was having with using the plastic card is that they come in A4 sheets of paper. So if you imagine my hand as an A4 sheet of paper and another one, you got to butt them up. And then when you butt them up, you've got the joins and you have to somehow conceal the joins. So my way around that is that I've tried to conceal the joins in such a way that these yellow strips, as in the real building, as you saw in the video clip, you can see that there was some yellow strips there. So I've used those yellow strips to my advantage to try and conceal the joins as best as I can, so you can't really notice them. Also, the guttering on the sides, that was also in conjunction with the joins to try and conceal the joins as best as I could. I couldn't conceal everything, but I've done the best I could. So I'm pretty happy with the results overall. It's just the execution could have been better. So let's take you in for a bit of a closer look. It is actually powered with lighting. It's got an LED strip in it. The LED strip is actually a 5-volt strip, which I got off of eBay via a USB stick. So it came like that. There's your USB stick, your USB end, sorry. And you plugged it into an adapter, nice and easy. And then it comes out onto this lighting strip like so. And this is 5 volts. However, I've got 12 volts running on my lighting. So in order to make it work, I've had to add in a resistor so I don't blow up the LEDs and all the rest of it. So I've had to add a resistor, but I do think I've got a 5-volt transformer somewhere. So if I do find it, I will try it because I think it will give me slightly better brightness. So I'm going to just take it off the tripod and then sort of give you a bit of a closer look inside. So this is the view head on. I'm just going to switch on the lights so you can see. And I think that's come out quite well. I will switch all the lights off so you can get a better idea of the lighting. But you can see it's come out pretty well. Let me see if I can take you in for a closer look without it kind of... I haven't really seen this properly myself, but this is how it kind of looks. Which for a carriage shed, and I think it looks fine. Obviously you've got a little bit of bleeding underneath, but you can cover that up with bushes and stuff. I haven't quite finished it, but I think it's come out relatively well. The roof, my apologies for the shadows, has come out particularly well. Now, what I'm going to say to you about this is that what I did is when I realised that the glue, as you can sort of see here, you can sort of see the glue is kind of bulging a little bit. And if you look down the line, it isn't quite straight. And if you look at this edge here, you can see that the glue's reacted, but there isn't much I can really do about that. And the thing is with foam board is if you mess around with foam board too much, you'll just damage the integrity of the foam board and you'll end up having to do the whole lot again. So I decided that I was just going to leave well enough alone and just sort of go, well, I can live with that. But this is, like I said, based on Farnham Depot, train care depot, I should say. Let me see if I can get around the other way so you can have a look down the line. And that's that from that end. And if you have a look at the top, that's how it looks from the top. So as you can see, this is like a night shot. There's no lights on in here apart from the lights that are on the layout itself. And you can see that this side is lit inside, this one is lit. You can actually see inside this as well. You can also see inside this building as well, which is quite bright. So let me just show you what it looks like with this one. Bear with me a minute. There you go. Which I think is actually the right kind of brightness, to be honest. So I think I might just leave it like that. Like I said, it's a 4-lane engine shed, and it looks pretty decent. Like I said, it's not perfect, but the only thing I've got left to do is the signage, and that's the only thing I have left to do to it. And like I said, it is just based on the train care depot at Farnham Station, or just past Farnham Station, for those of you who know. Danny will know what I'm talking about. So, like I said, so this is the replacement engine shed for my other one that I have. Oops, sorry. So what I'll do is I'll bring some trains round and you can have a look with it on, with some trains in it. So as you can see, my Southwest Trains EMUs have been put to bed in their new home. Now I've still got some adjustments to do because this is way too tight here. So I'm going to have to move this point a bit further forward and then split it from the further down. Then back here, I'm going to have to move it further down just to fit them in, which is no big deal, but I just haven't got around to doing that as yet, because that won't actually necessarily affect those two anyway, so it's not going to be a problem. And then I can put everything else back, but that's pretty much what I've built. So despite the fact that there hasn't been any sort of layout videos, there has actually been some progress. So I can now switch all of this off. Just keep going down. And they're all off. So let's just have a look at it from the other end. So this is how it looks at the other end. It is a bit tight, a bit tighter than I expected, but they all fit. So yeah, so it's a 4-lane engine shed. So it's a new engine shed for Mildenhall and Districts. So this concludes the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you found it pretty insightful. And I hope you like what I've done. Like I said, I do enjoy scratch building buildings, I should say. But like I said, if you're going to be using foam board, I would suggest using PVA, because PVA it takes longer to set, but it does actually work, and it's better because you'll get better results. And that's what I did on the roof. So all this mottling effect that you're seeing on the roof, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to replace this building, is because of the Yoo-hoo. So I really try, if I were you, I'd really try and stay away from using Yoo-hoo with plasticard. It really doesn't work too well. I mean, I did try and spread it out as well. I did try some different techniques, but I still wasn't happy with the results. So I really would recommend that if you do use plasticard, to go with the PVA, because it will take longer to set, but it will also give you the advantage of being able to move it for a longer period, and it won't damage the integrity of the foam board, and it also won't actually sort of burn into the plasticard sheet itself, so you won't get all the glue marks coming through underneath like I have done on this building. So hopefully you've learned something from this. But like I said, I'm still pleased with these buildings, don't get me wrong. They're still really good, sturdy building. I mean, this building's been around for a number of years now, and so has Beringer. So, you know, I would sort of say that I might consider, if I was to build another building, still consider making it out of foam board. But what I would do in this instance, in the next instance, I would actually completely glue it. The actual structure you can glue with the glue gun, because that goes really easily. But when it comes to cladding and things, I would consider using PVA rather than Yoo-hoo. And the other thing I would also consider is the cost of plasticard, because as you can see on this plasticard here, you know, it comes in these sheets and you can still see the joins. You can see a join there, and you can see all these joins. So you've got to still try and hide them as best you can, which is what I did with that one, which has come out quite well. But so that's something else to consider. I would actually sort of suggest that if you are going to build a big building like this, is maybe it's easy to conceal the joins with paper buildings like this. And this has stood the test of time pretty well, to be honest. I mean, I've had this a number of years, and this has stood the test of time pretty well. And this is actually paper which was printed off. So that's what I'd probably suggest, because I think it'd be a lot cheaper. But I did actually look at getting some corrugated paper, to be fair, and I think it was Scale Scenes or Scale Model Scenery, one of the two did the corrugated paper, but it's very samey. So all the way through, it kind of looks the same all the way through, and then it's also more difficult to paint it, and because you can't really paint it because it's sheet paper, and to try and weather it is also a bit more difficult. So whereas with plastic card you can paint it, you can cut it down to the right size, and you can put all sorts of colours and patterns on it and weather it the way you want. With paper, you're kind of pretty much set with what the pattern is of the paper. So that's something else to bear in mind. But it would have been a lot cheaper to do it that way. But anyway, it's done now. Am I happy with the building? Yes, I'm happy with the building. Could I have done better? Yes, I could have done better. But that is just the way it is. And that's how I've just done it. And I think for me to try and modify it might have disrupted the whole integrity of the building. So it's better to just leave well enough alone and just learn by your mistakes. So next time when I build a building, I won't build it in the same way. I might try experimenting on a smaller building with foam board, but I certainly wouldn't be using the Yoo-hoo again, as it will actually eat in and compromise the integrity of the foam board and also burn through the plastic card. So those are things to bear in mind. So until the next time, it's again, Merry Christmas from me, Susanna, and I live with chains. Bye-bye.